What up, Corner Crew? Welcome back to another episode of the Hip Hop Happy Hour podcast. I am your host, as always, Brad Bailey. Want to give a shout out to y'all, man, for tuning in. And yeah, we got a lot of good shit coming up. End of the year is coming up. You know what I'm saying? 2024 is right around the corner. December 8th, Ghost of the Machine's birthday party, Starlight, Southbridge, Massachusetts. You know how we do. Y'all got to come out and celebrate with us for sure, for sure. And yeah, catch Culture Corner Wrestling, Masters of the Gamerverse. You know how we do. We keep coming at you with more and more content. And on that note, I want to bring forth a couple of young brothers, literally brothers, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We got Element and Kxng Charisma. Bring them to the stage. How y'all doing, fellas?
What's going on, man? I'm chilling.
Chilling.
Appreciate y'all coming on the show. Kxng, we already know what you're about, bro. You know, my Culture Corner Wrestling compadre.
For sure.
Yeah, you've been on the show before. You know how kind of how our format goes. But Element, you know, you're new to the show, so I want you to tell us where you're from, who you are, and what you're about.
You want me to take it or you take it, Mark?
Yeah, you go ahead, go first.
You go first, bro.
Yeah, we've been basically two deadly MCs from Philadelphia. We're actual blood brothers. You know what I'm saying? A lot of duos aren't actually related, so we're one of the few that's actually blood related brothers. But yeah, we're part of the camp, like affiliates with Army of the Pharaohs, Outer Space, Jedi Mind, all that stuff. So you know what you getting when you know what I'm saying, when you listen to us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tell us a little bit about your influences as you were coming up.
Well, the obvious dudes like Jay, Big Pun, Eminem, Cool G, obviously the people in our family, stuff like that. We had like more newer influences are the obvious people like Kendrick, Cole, people like Drake, stuff like that. People that can really bar up is basically who influences me, at least for all of my life.
Yeah, now I feel like I always say this, like we kind of didn't grow up on hip hop, we grew up in it.
Yep.
So there's a big difference. So, you know, growing up for us around so many like talented MCs in the family or whatever, we kind of had no choice but to like have good guidance in terms of like being students of the game. Like we had to like, you know, I knew Get Rich or Die Trying word for word when I was 3 years old. I hadn't, you know, there was so much good hip hop being consumed around me, you know, whether it was my pop or my uncles or like family friends or whatever, that were just all so embedded into the culture that we kind of had no choice but to be influenced by, you know, the good shit and the traditional shit very, very young. That's where I feel like it separates us, because a lot of our peers aren't influenced by the same, you know, by the same artists that we are. You know, we grew up on, you know, people like Jay and people like, you know, Jada, Fab, Pusha, so many people like that, that we had, that it kind of, we implemented it into our music as well. But even if we didn't end up rapping, we still knew all the good shit because we were surrounded by it. All of our uncles and my pop and all these people consumed all the good shit around us, so that influenced us, you know, at a really, really young age when we first wanted to start doing this shit. And I feel like a lot of our peers, like around our age, we're 3 years apart, but we're in the same like age bracket. I feel like they're not necessarily as influenced by that as we are. So I feel like when we name the people that we just named, you know, it's a lot different from people our age for the most part.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. Like, we were going to studio sessions with our pop when we were like 5 and 8 years old, just consuming every bit of that culture that they were giving off, whether it was recording, whether it was conversations they were having, debating MCs and stuff like that, debating what's going on in hip hop or whatever. Like, it was always just hip hop. Like, whether it was the way we dressed, what we were listening to, like getting dropped off at school, everything was hip hop, and especially the kind of hip hop that we do.
Yeah,
So,
like we have core memories attached to like doing shit that I feel like a lot of people our age didn't do. I remember sitting in a barber shop and, you know, the neighborhood hustler would come by and sell, you know, Lil Wayne mixtapes that weren't out for another 3 months, but he had it because it leaked online or whatever, and he would sell it for a couple dollars in the barbershop when I'm like 6 and 7 years old. I remember thinking I got the new 50 Cent album and I pop it in the PS2 and it's just like Cassidy freestyles from the street. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember like I felt scammed obviously, but I remember being that hip hop that young to where those core memories stuck with me. And I feel like a lot of those core memories don't stick with a lot of people like around our age. So I think definitely our upbringing in terms of what surrounded us was definitely the most influential in itself.
Well, like you had said, you were born into it, so
Yeah.
you guys were carrying a legacy. You really are. Because I mean, I started listening to your pops and your uncles when I was like 21 or so. I'm 40, almost 44. So I've been listening to them as long as you guys have been alive or longer. You know what I mean? So you guys are carrying that legacy forward, and you're doing an excellent job. And if anybody that hasn't listened, they need to go and take a listen, because you guys blend what you grew up on and that newer flavor. You guys do it right. A lot of people can't do it right. But carrying that legacy, do you feel it as pressure to succeed in a negative way, or is it all in a positive way?
I kind of feel the opposite for real because we're so familiar to the game, kind of like we've been studying this since we hadn't even hit puberty yet, and we were already like kind of very knowledgeable about what was going on. So it's not really pressure, but maybe it's like pressure in terms of like pleasing those kind of fans with certain moments or whatever. Like, say if we want to do something different that isn't like typical hardcore hip hop, they're like, oh, what are these kind of fans gonna say about it? Since that is kind of like our core base of fans. But it's not really pressure because like think about it, everybody's getting older. They're not really as like stubborn as they probably are when they're young, and like just be like, oh, this is trash or this is trash, this is trash or whatever. But I don't know. I don't really feel any pressure for at this point. I did like maybe a couple years ago, and I'm sure my brother did too. But at this point, we just do what we want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't necessarily feel the pressure anymore because A, we're damn good and we're nice as fuck for one. And B, it's also like people are always gonna like or dislike. There's always gonna be people that like and dislike it anyway. So there's no
Exactly.
point. There's no point in even putting yourself through that process of trying to please everybody because no matter who you are, it's never going to happen. Like there's people in the world that think Illmatic is boring and don't like it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's no there's always gonna be there's always gonna be people that like and dislike it. And just do what the hell you want. But I know that I definitely used to feel it heavy, the pressure of, oh, because even though we are surrounded by what we're surrounded by, and we grew up like trying to like mimic a certain style to a certain degree in terms of like the music that was made within our family and stuff like that. That's where our core like base I think comes from. But at the same time, we're not super snobbish about it. Like we're not super snobbish to mainstream stuff. We're young at the end of the day. So the hip part in hip hop is the youth. So, there's been a times where we dabbled in certain things and we tried to, you know, do other sounds. And there's still times where we will do it just like for fun, just because, we get tired of doing the same stuff all the time for the most part. Um, Now I think we try to stick to it a little bit more because it sticks and it works. But at the same time, when say I'm making songs like about girls and partying and things like that, you know, core fans that we have now may not want to hear that, but at the same time, we are young. We are trying to draw in youth at the same time. And like we like certain shit. Like I can listen like the same day I can listen to Cool G Rap and KRS-One's the same day I can listen to Moneybagg Yo and Lil Baby. You know what I mean? Like we're not super snobbish about it. We love the ignorant trap shit. We love the young shit. We do. Because we're young. We have no, we're young. We're surrounded by I went to college, so that really changed my perspective on like how valuable certain sounds of music are. So I think definitely a few years ago I felt the pressure, and I'm sure he felt the same way about, oh, we have these people that are obviously going to come in naturally just by who we're affiliated with as fans that are going to want what they want. But at the same time, we are young. We do have different lifestyles. So we're going to, at the same time, want to bring in youth as well. So we kind of get experimental and we kind of think about, oh, well, if we do this, these people aren't going to like that. If we do that, those people might like it, but they won't. So, but now we just realize we're good at whatever the hell we do, whatever the hell we put out is good for the most part. So we kind of don't really, I mean, we kind of don't really let it like face us too much because people are going to like it or dislike it.
Yeah,
No matter what.
people need to realize you're also your own artist.
Yeah,
You're not trying to be a carbon copy of what came before you, or even each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So a lot of people, and I was about to lead in with this question, is the old head gatekeepers. They're usually the ones that can't accept it. And you keep saying you guys are young. How do you perceive the old head hip hop gatekeepers?
Just don't at this point, because as you said, at the end of the day, we're our own artists, so we do, like you're saying, we record all of our music by ourselves, we mix everything by ourselves. We don't really like tune into what the old head gatekeepers. I know what you're talking about too, like the real stubborn ones that just don't budge at all. Like,
Yeah.
It's hard because you got to remember too. There's a lot of young cats like that too. We're just like, oh, this is corny, just rap or whatever. Which we're kind of like that too in a certain way with certain artists.
We are. No, we're guilty of it for sure.
We're definitely guilty of it.
Everyone.
Yeah,
sure.
But we also catch ourselves. At least I do sometimes. Like, we got to be a little more fair because we know we like to do different stuff too. So like I feel and sympathize with like the old head gatekeeping mentality because there's that same mentality with even younger people, but at the same time you just gotta tune it out because everybody's gonna do what they want to do regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we just did everything that people suggested we would do, we would go nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Music would never even get out. We wouldn't even put music out.
Yeah, at that point, you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be fun.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be fun.
Because like we like moving to the beat of our own drum, basically. You know what I'm
saying? Which you should, because like I said, there's no reason to be a carbon copy. There's too many carbon copies out there nowadays, especially mainstream. I mean, almost 95% of the female artists that are out there in the mainstream, if you put on the radio, can you really tell the difference?
Yeah. I mean, it's bad.
It's wild. It's wild. So, and again, you guys are young and doing your own thing. Like you said, you mix master, you do everything yourself, which is the best way to do it nowadays because no one else is going to care about your art more than you.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to be able to master your sound the way you could master it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I personally don't mix and produce, but I know that whether it's Scott Stallone or whether it's him, it's going to, like, regardless, it's going to be my sound, and you're gonna know where it came from.
Yeah, like whether it's you technically doing the technical stuff, like think about it, we've been doing it since we were 8 and 11 years old. Like whether it sounded shitty when we were 8 and 11 years old, but it's still like it's our sound at the end of the day. Like, everybody records on my studio.
Like I feel like at this point, people can tell when I'm rapping on one of your beats. You know what I mean?
100%.
That's
I mean, at least I think so. But yeah, 100%. It's like we have our own sounds, but like, given how kin we are and how kin we've always been for like our entire careers or whatever, it's like it's merged into each other at this point. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy.
How easy is it working together in the studio?
I mean, it's pretty easy, I'd say, right, Mark?
Yeah, it's not harder. It's if anything, it's probably the most comfortable I feel in the recording process of anything. That's not to say I'm not comfortable in my own like solo recording process, and that's not to say he's not comfortable in his. I just think because we don't overthink it. For the most part, when we do when we make stuff together, we're 3 collab projects in now at this point. Each one of the last 3 years, we dropped something together, right? And we've dropped other stuff together on each other's like solo work or just stuff that maybe never even came out, or whether my pop did something he wanted us on. We've done a million things together at this point, or he produced a beat to a single I put out or whatever. So I think that process is so easy now because we don't overthink it. For the most part, it's just like, okay, we like this beat. Okay, do we like it enough to rap on it?
Oh,
Okay,
it's
we're
just
gonna
like,
rap on it. We're gonna rap on it really well. We're gonna think of a hook. All right, cool. We're gonna think of a hook. It's really not a hard process.
yeah, like if there was a hidden in all of our studio sessions, I guess people would fall asleep because it's
Right.
real. Just like,
It's
yo,
really boring. Like it's not.
do you like this beat?
There's no fireworks whatsoever.
Like if you listen to the music, it sounds like a war zone is going on in the studio. But it's really like, yo, do you like this beat? Yeah, I like it too. All right, want to just rap on it? All right, cool. When do you want to rap on it?
Yeah,
All right,
who's
I'll
gonna
come
do the
down
hook
right
on
now.
this one?
You can do it. All right, cool.
You got a hook? Nah. All right, I'll write one. You know, like
It's real easy. You know, like
it's really a comfortable space because like when you live together, it's like, yo, let me play this for you real quick. All right, cool. We like it enough to rap on it. Bet, let's do it. Like, you know?
Yeah, 9 times out of 10 when I play him something, he's gonna want to rap on it. It's just because like I know what he wants to hear and I know what kind of joints to play for him and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
very, very rarely will we get something that we try out and then we're just not too crazy about. Like our recent project, there was a song we probably recorded. There's 9 songs on the project. We probably recorded 11 or 12, but there was one that we were just like, I'm not too sure about this one. Let's just like dead it. Let's put it in. Like the
Yeah,
song
like
was damn near done and we deaded it.
and it's funny about that because we didn't even talk about it at first, and then I brought it up. I was like, "Yo, you know a song on the album I'm really not kin to?"
I
And
was
then
afraid to say it. I was like,
we both said it at the same exact time. We were like, "Oh, yeah, well, that's not going on there then."
yeah, I was scared to say it. I'm like, damn, what if he loves this John and I like hate it?
No, I like the song is okay. It's like a little Lucy type, but it just like it wasn't hitting as hard as every other song on the album.
Yeah, every other song on the album was just so much better. And there was also it sounded like 2 other songs on the album. And we're like, we don't want 3 songs with this
That
kind of
sound the same. Yeah.
with this really like grueling, dark, like eerie sound. I kind of didn't want 3 songs like that. So I was like, all right, that takes up damn near half the album with this sound. Having 2 was enough for the most part. So we were like, nah, let's just dead it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sometimes they don't fit, and especially if you're in such cohesion.
Yeah.
With the rest of it, sometimes one or 2 tracks, it's like, we got to cut those off. Just hold on to them for the next one.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But you guys have hit stages that have had like packed crowds at, again, such a young age. You've experienced a lot more than most artists that are 40 years old at this point. Give me your best and worst road story.
You want to start with the worst?
Start with the best.
All right, yeah. Well, the best for me, probably for you too, is when we rocked the Union Transfer with Out of Space. That was like soul leaving out of my body for me because that was the first time I did something that big.
Right.
Like Mark, he did like a couple. He did New York the night before. He did Philly a few years before that. So he was already comfortable with that whole being in front of almost 2,000 people thing. I very much was not. But when I got comfortable and like when like my pop and my uncle, they announced our names and all that, and people started cheering, I was like, oh, okay, this is insanity. And then when we freestyled at the end during the cipher, like that's definitely hands down the best experience I've had.
And it's when Vinny's handing you the mic, you know what I mean? He's personally picking you out. He's like,
patting your back, like pushing you to the front of the stage. I'm like, yeah, this is like 8-year-old me would be going fucking ballistic at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like it's literally like out of body experience for that night. Well, our worst show was probably like last week, right?
Oh yeah, no, that was pretty bad. But no, I think definitely that little East Coast run with JMT and Outer Space back in March. It was March, I believe.
We did
New York, Philly, Boston. Us together, we did Philly and Boston on Outer Space's set. That was really fun. People were very receptive. I think some people were shocked because they were just like, all right, we know who these people are. We didn't know they were this damn good. Because you got to realize afterwards, we want to watch the show. So we're in the crowd after we get off stage. So we're in the crowd. We want to watch. Vinny's like an uncle to us, so we want to support him. So we watch from the crowd. We're not too cool to like hang out with the crowd or whatever.
Nah.
We had in Boston. We had like this little section where they had like family members and stuff, but that was about it. So, we're going into the bathroom. I'm at the bar buying drinks. People are coming up to me, buying me drinks just because they're like, "Yo, you guys killed it," and all of this stuff. So yeah, it was really cool to just like feel that, because sometimes, when things aren't necessarily going as fast as you want them to in terms of like the reception, in terms of the numbers and things like that, you get caught up in that too quick. Then you rock a stage like that and 20, 30 people come up to you telling you how much you kill it. You sign a freaking autograph or two. You know what I mean? So those are real things that actually happened. So
yeah, like not being able to go to the bathroom because everybody's like trying to shake your hand and like say like, "Yo, you killed it! Yo, you killed it! Yo, you killed it!"
yeah,
Like,
you're like almost pissing yourself because it's
yeah,
already
you're like, "Yo, dude, like love, but like I really gotta pee,"
Right.
and like we're in this bathroom filled with like 20 dudes, so like. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, it makes you feel like Michael Jackson at that point, especially when, as he said, like you get caught up in the numbers for a lot of years, and you know what I'm saying, you go through a lot of mental battles with like trying to get stuff off the ground, and then you rock a stage in real life and get real life reception, and then all that shit just goes out the window.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, worst story, King. You still haven't given me one.
Yeah. Oh man.
well, I wouldn't
So
say the one last week or like 2 weeks ago because at least the audio was working.
yeah. No. Yeah. At least we sounded good. It was out of this story I'm about to tell is pretty damn bad, and it wasn't even our fault. So
Was not at all. We were 100% prepared.
100% prepared, completely professional. A
Had
lot
to.
younger, but still completely prepared. Very professional.
Had
So
some people pop out like, oh,
we did a showcase at This is no diss to this place. This is if anything, it's a funny story now. There was a place called the Rusty Nail in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, which is maybe 10 to 15 minutes where I went to college at the time. And I had only been in college for like 2, 3 weeks. So I was salty because like the new friends that I made in college, said they were all gonna come and none of them ended up coming. So that made me salty enough, but I was a lot younger then, so I cared a lot more. Now I don't really give a shit. But we got there, it was us two, and then we had a third person we performed with who's a friend of ours. Um he goes by the name F Breezio now.
my God.
And the stage was small. It was like a little like old beat up dive bar or whatever. But the stage is big enough for us to rock. It was space like near the pool tables and stuff where people go watch us rock. There was a bar on the left side for people to watch us rock. There was a good amount of people there. It was probably 70 to 80 people there. There was a few artists, they brought some girls around. So it was a cool. We're thinking this is cool. There's nothing that can go wrong here, right? Boy, was I wrong,
Yeah.
because um we have our CD that our tracks are in. We don't rap over vocals or anything, so it's all basically just instrumentals, which is whatever. That wasn't the issue. We handed the sound guy our CD with our stuff on it. He starts rocking it or whatever, and his stuff starts skipping. My shit starts skipping. I think I might have got it the worst in terms
No,
of
you did get it the worst. I felt awful. I'm like, Mark didn't
terrible,
even get to get a joint off.
terrible. Oh no, and the worst part about it is there was maybe 4 or 5 people that went on before us that were absolutely horrific, but none of their stuff skipped.
A beat.
Us, actually, like semi decent at the time, all of our stuff skips. And then our third friend, of course, who we're on stage with, none of his stuff skips, but he's performing on the same set.
Yeah, we all shared a set. You know
We
what I'm saying?
all shared a set. He's performing with us. His songs come on, all skip. My shit comes on. I probably got 2 legitimate bars in like 3 total songs that didn't skip. And then our third friend, his stuff comes on, not one thing skips. And I even took a shot at the sound guy on my set. I think I was so irritated. But yeah, it was bad because
God,
like it's like it's the awkward moment of everybody in the crowd is noticing this.
yeah, like everybody knows what's going on. And
Yeah, like there's like there's like chicks in the front that are like getting bored and like rolling their eyes, and it seems like they're laughing at what's going on. And then
Terrible.
when our friend stuff comes on, they're all like hyping him up, and I'm like,
Yeah, they're all jumping
you,
and shit.
man.
I'm like, this fucking asshole,
Yeah, I'm
bro.
like, fuck this guy, man. Are you
Of course,
serious?
of course, this asshole gets. He has a perfect show. But
Yeah,
he left the show happy that night.
yeah. He was like, yeah, we killed it. I was like, who killed it? Not us. That just sounded like shit.
Like I was tempted. I don't know like what stopped me, but I was tempted to be like, yo, just like because I think it was the worst when you were doing Netflix and chill. Like
Yeah, I had a song called Netflix and Chill at the time on a mixtape I put out at the time, and it was one of my favorite songs on that John. And like, I think I still have the video of it. I'll send it to you if I find it, Brad. After this, it was so bad because every other bar I have to like start the bar all over again, or I have to like catch it and readjust because it's skipping to another drum or like another part of the bar in the beat. So I'm like, yo, I have to like stop myself, let the beat catch itself, and then start rapping again. It was terrible.
there was no way to get around it. It was
nothing we could have done. But nobody else did this happen to the entire night.
I mean, the problem was really that we did it the old school way and brought a CD, but I thought it wouldn't matter. Like
it shouldn't have mattered. Everybody else bought flash drives and shit. So
my thing. Oh my god.
It was bad.
And it was a brand new CD. It wasn't like it was an old beat up CD. It was a brand new CD and we put all the tracks on. It was like, all right, this should be cool.
The reason I was upset with the sound dude is because he kind of gave the look of I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, he was like,
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, he was like 70. He didn't give a shit. Like,
yeah, dude, most of those sound guys, man, it's like I've dealt with some sound guys, and it's like, fuck, man. Especially those dudes that are like 70. Me and my homeboy, we call them, you know, that group Sticks. Obviously, you guys have heard of the rock band Sticks. They all look like they should be in Sticks, man. They all look like they should play bass guitar for those motherfuckers.
Literally.
It's either the really old guys or the really young kids that are working sound that really just don't give a shit.
I mean, the sound kids at Union Transfer were awful too.
Terrible. We ended up like obviously getting it right because this is like top of the chain. This is professional as you get. This is a Jedi mind trick show. You can't fuck this up. Not in Philly, at least.
Right.
So at Union Transfer, we were like, "Yo, man, you got to fix this, dog. Like there's just kids on their phone behind the thing. We're like, yo, man, you got to get this together."
Yeah, they're making like 17 an hour. They don't give a shit. Like they're just like
on the phone behind the whole time, not even pressing the right shit. It was bad.
I'm like, yo, you have to be just as attentive as the DJ. Like, come on, dude.
and this is gonna be a sold out show. This isn't gonna be like some bullshit show where 10 people show up. Like, you know what I mean? There's gonna be 12 to 1,400 people here.
I've been to shows where 10 to 15 people have showed up and the sound is excellent, and I've been to big shows that have sucked. Like even arenas that have sucked. And we need better sound guys venues. Every venue out there across the
please.
We need better sound guys, please.
100. I'll do it myself at this point. I'm like, yo, it can't be this hard.
I can figure this shit out in 2 seconds if you want. Jesus Christ.
I saw an app in New Hampshire in February, and it sounded horrible. And I know that he was sick on top of it, but the sound the sound man did not help that he had a bit of a cold at all. He could have helped him out a lot, but he did not help that shit. It sounded terrible. Like
they don't give a shit. I'm like, what's going on here? Why is this a profession that nobody
cares? They either don't give a shit or they honestly think that shit sounds good.
Right, they don't know. Yeah,
and it sounds right, and they just don't know. Like you, the second you spit a bar into a mic, you know it's fucked up. The second you spit a word into the mic, you know it's fucked up.
I booked a show last year, and the venue failed to tell me that they had a sound guy. They didn't tell me that he wasn't going to be there that night because I would have found somebody, you know. So I get there, and the DJ, thank God, he knows what he was doing. He was basically the sound guy and the DJ for the night. So he actually he saved our asses that night.
Yeah, like a DJ shouldn't have to have that pressure.
Oh yeah, shout out to Slipwax, man. Shout out to Slipwax for saving their ass that night.
Yeah, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like a DJ should just be able to DJ, not have to worry about if the sound man is being a dork or not. Like it's literally every show we've been, except last week. show with like maybe like mice and roaches watching us or whatever, like that sound was fine. Surprisingly, I thought that sound was gonna be awful.
Yeah, but we did that same venue a week earlier and it wasn't fine. You know what I mean? So it was like
exactly. Like Reef kept telling like, "Yo, sound man, I need these mics up, dude. Like, what, like nobody's listening." I'm like, "What's going on here, dude?"
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
So, fellas, where do you see yourselves in the next 5 years?
Mark, you can take that. I got that.
I mean, obviously, the advantage that I feel like we have on our side is time, considering we are still so young. You know, being 23 and 20 years old. So I used to put a lot of pressure on not just myself, but the both of us of like, yo, we got to make this shit happen now. We got to make this shit happen now. Now I'm just like, dude, we're still young. I want to just keep making the best music that I can. Growing growing the fans gradually as we go, as much as we can, keep gaining fans over the years. And hopefully, you know, when I'm 27, 28, 29 years old, you know, it could be us on these tours, you know, packing these shows. You know, instead of being the openers, we could be the ones packing these shows and packing these tours. In terms of music, that's where I want to be. In life, in general, I want that to be my occupation, but there's a lot of other things that I like to do in life as well. Like I went to college, didn't finish that shit, but I definitely went for communications and like film stuff. So use I want to use my resources in music to like gain my following and stuff like that in order to also pursue like other forms of media like film production, screenwriting, video production in general, shooting for TV and stuff like that. Because I went to school for it, so I'm just like I'm knowledgeable enough to where I can get that stuff off the ground. But I feel like now rap is like my talent that I can use to get the following up to be able to gain a viewership for other things I want to pursue. So in 5 years, I want my thing to be rap and film. That's what I want my thing to be.
Yeah, like the main thing that I can think about that I want to be doing a lot in like maybe the next 5+ years is being on the road. Like whether it's for music or whether it's just like traveling to go see things and like getting out of the little bubble that we're in. Like the older I get, the more I realize that like you gotta branch out. Like you can't like give that like I'm yeah, like I'm the type of person that's I get real comfortable and like I don't really want to do shit ever. But I always think about doing shit, and I'm always like, "Oh, that'd be nice." But then, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, "Oh, I'd rather just stay here and not deal with any of that." But like, I want to get better at just booking plane tickets and just going and like seeing like, oh, there's an opportunity we can perform in Zurich for something, even if it's shitty. Just do it. Forget it. Let's just make a weekend out of it. Whatever. Like that's something I really want to start doing more. Like maybe in the next 5+ years in terms of music. But yeah, and in terms of life, I want to be, you know, living on my own, maybe stuff like that, and like just really having the time and energy and money to just go go full ham on the music.
Yeah, it's you guys are like you say. We keep coming back to how young you guys are, and it blows my mind because you're so down to earth already, and you seem like you've already lived such a long life because the way you both carry yourselves. That's your upbringing, you know. That's your upbringing because you were raised right. So that's always a plus because we see a lot of young talent in this game that's not raised right at all, and they get their name out there for all the wrong reasons. But you guys are doing it the right way, so that's a good thing, you know. This guy, shout out to both of you. But,
yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a test of the people that you know raised us. You know what I'm saying, like, so many people around us do not have their head on straight. At least the way I guess we do. Not saying we're perfect and like we're fucking angels or whatever, but like there's so many things that go on around us, like maybe like stuff that people we've known have done, or like stuff like where I'm just like, how is this even like right at all in your brain? Like what's going on? Like people really don't have their head on straight, like at all.
I think it's how early we started to pick up on things too. Like now, say we get a crazy run in with like like say a fan doesn't know any better and they kind of talk crazy in your DM or whatever the hell. It's easy to just fly off at the handle and be like, yo, what the who the fuck are you talking? But now, being that, my pop, my uncles, Vinny has dealt with this their entire lives, we kind of know how to go about these situations and like keep our composure and be like, yo, this isn't really how this is supposed to work. And we kind of like kill them with the down to earth and the kindness for the most part. Obviously, we don't let people push us around, but we're just like, there's certain situations where it's easy to fly off at the handle and be like, yo, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what are you doing? But us being around so many professionals and people that really take professionalism seriously, at least in this craft, it's kind of molded us into being ready for that when that time comes. You know what I mean? Like when that time comes and when we have to deal with situations like that.
Yeah, at like a way bigger scale, because
Yeah,
we
because
deal with our
this
fair share of
industry,
bullshit, and we're pretty much nobody in terms of where we want to be.
this industry, Brad, I'm sure you relate to this like hell because you do this. There's so many entitled people in this damn industry, dude. Like it's so bizarre how people just feel entitled to your attention, to how they feel entitled to like your talent and how they feel entitled to just everything, your time, attention, your talent, and there's really no reward in like feeding into people like that and just giving what the hell they want because it never repays you anything if they're just a piece of shit. You know what I mean? So it's like it ends up not even being worth the hassle. Um, but you learn that, and you learn who to separate yourself from and just who not to deal with because this, at least with what we do, there's so many, and it definitely with what you do, there's so many entitled like just people that just don't know how these kinds of situations work.
There's a lot of unprofessionalism too. Like
Unprofessionalism, entitlement. Yeah,
a lot of people that can't take the tiny bit of criticism. You have to be able to take criticism in this world. You in any field, in anything you do in this life, you have to, or if not, you're going to be overly emotional, and then that leads to something either bad happening to you, the person you're going against, or your job, or whatever, your career. You could lose everything in that.
Yeah, like whether you agree with the criticism or not, you have to know how to take it. To be like, oh, I appreciate the thoughts. Like I personally don't feel that way, but like I'm glad
and
you're
it's not
even
always
listening to feel it.
it's not always easy either. Like if somebody like it's
Yeah,
I
somebody
feel
say
like it's
like,
a
yo,
lot.
those beats stink. Like, damn, dude, like what the hell? Like he's like, but
Yeah,
that
the
like
beat was
I'm
trash.
just
All
being
right.
I'm just giving criticism. Like, all right, well, I
It's
guess.
not always easy to take. Sometimes you have to reel yourself back in, like, all right, this is just a personal opinion. Because sometimes it will get to you a little bit. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned at the top of the show, it's like there's gonna be people that like it and there's gonna be people that dislike it no matter what. If you play our album for 1,000 people, there's gonna be 900 that like it and 100 that don't probably. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. That 100 is always gonna be there.
We've seen the way, especially the hip hop community, jumps on the ability to criticize with the Andre 3000 flute album.
Yeah.
You know, look that whole week. What was it, last week? It was wild, bro.
No,
Everybody.
and fans are ruthless. Fans are ruthless. I won't like they are unfair sometimes. I feel like, and I'm guilty of it as well as a fan. It's like we don't necessarily allow growth and change in artists, and I feel like that's so unfair. Especially because people grow, they get older, they're not the same artist. That's why, like when people are like, oh, I want the old Jay-Z, I want the old 50 Cent, I want the old Eminem, I want the old Nas, I want the old this. I'm like, dude, they're 50. They are 50.
Right. They're never coming. They're never going to be
They're
20
never
years.
going to be 26, 27 again. Ever.
Never.
So
And
I
it,
feel like that's so unfair. I hope that I'm not making the same music at 33 as I am at 23. I hope to God not. You know what I mean? So yeah, like people are definitely ruthless. They don't allow growth. They don't allow like change. But at the end of the day, you gotta just learn to just take it on the chin. Just keep going. That's why whenever you guys do a review on the Culture Corner or whatever, whether it's a blind review or whatever, um, you always preface like, listen, we are going to give an honest review.
Right.
We're not going like it could be a review of someone you have a very good relationship with and that you're really cool with in real life. You're gonna give an honest review. It's not personal. It's not that I don't fuck with you. It's not that we don't fuck with each other. It's just going to be an honest review, and that's just how it is. You always preface that every time you guys put out a review. Which is why when Kevin the blind reviewer put out the shit for this album that we just put out, I was just like for the most part it was a really positive review. So shout out to him for that. But there was a few things that he pointed out that he would have liked to hear differently or more of or less of, and we left with that like okay, like that's cool, like we can respect that. We
Yeah,
understand where
if
you're coming
anything, I was like, I now like looking back at it, I was like, yeah, maybe he was right, but like,
yeah, like because you always look back on shit. You're always just like, all right, maybe that does make sense. There's nothing you can do about it now, but we can definitely see the perspective and we appreciate the honesty. You know what I'm saying? But that's not. It wasn't. It was a very positive review.
yeah, it was like one thing,
insanely positive.
Yeah, literally
Yeah.
one thing. Maybe he said that. He was
Insanely
like, oh,
positive review.
yeah, super positive. He loved the project.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Great dude.
Yeah.
So he's only been really ruthless one time, I think, in the past. But it's like he's gonna give you his honest review. He's gonna, and it is what it is. And he says if you don't like it, sorry, and it's only his opinion. He states that too. It's not the opinion of everyone. It's not the consensus. It's not the majority. It's one man's opinion.
Yeah,
and you take it for what it is. And now a lot of people they can't take opinions, they can't take criticism. It's wild to me. I'm a cook. I'm criticized all day long. I'm criticized by the people that eat my food, by the managers, by these people, and I'm also on the healthcare side of it.
Yeah.
So I work with like CNAs and nurses and all, and it's bro, and the elderly. It's like I'm criticized all day long. If it wasn't thick skin by now, I would have jumped in front of the train. It's like.
Well, I feel like with some people, I'm like, if you can't handle one person's opinion, how are you going to handle the world's opinion? When you get to a certain level, like you got to really practice how to just like take it on the chin and be like, yo, I hear you, but like, and that's cool. You can have that, but I stand on the
yeah. We like. I think now we're learning to nip our personal feelings in the bud now because God forbid this shit really blows up on the level that we want it to. It's only gonna be intensified by 1,000,000.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well get used to it. The fuck now.
And I can see you guys blowing up. I really can. I can see in the next year or 2 years something. All you need is that one hit. Like I tell everybody else, that just that one hit, and then that's going to carry you, and then people are actually going to see that you know what the hell you're doing. You know how to structure an album. You know how to put out your content. You know how to market yourselves, which a lot of artists your age don't know how to market themselves. We talk about that a lot on the show.
You know why? Because it's not necessarily always their fault. They don't have the marketability.
Right. That's true. They have no presence. They have no charisma. They can spit. A lot of people can spit. They can spit bars on beyond records, but when they hit that stage, they just don't have the it factor.
Yeah, the it factor.
We've seen that a lot.
Yeah, I think we all have, especially on like indie shows. If you go to indie shows, like you said, 4 acts before you were trash. It's like
awful.
It's kind of like as a fan, you want to support anybody that's like willing to hit that stage and has the balls to do it. But you also don't want to waste your money on trash.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, like a lot of people like they don't have the personality, and it's not really their fault, maybe. But like, my thing is, you have to manage your expectations. Like a lot of people don't have the personality to maybe do something we're doing right now, or to like, I don't know, film themselves like for Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be, promote their music. Which I'm like, yo, it's not your. If that's how you want to roll, cool, but you have to manage what you expect out of the game. You know what I'm saying? Because at this point, you just have to put yourself out there.
Yeah, there's no way around it whatsoever.
Yeah, we tried to get around it a little bit, but like we've come to terms like, yeah, no, we have to we have to do certain things to get certain things at this point. There's just no choice.
Yeah, you're not always gonna want to do every damn thing, to be honest. Sometimes I don't want to make these silly TikToks and get on Instagram and make these lip syncing videos of my shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do that shit most of the time. If I'm being completely, I don't. As crazy as it seems, I don't want to shoot this music video in 9-degree weather like I did last year. Like one time.
Yeah.
I don't want to do, but I'm gonna have to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have to get a video out soon. So and it's gonna be cold. You know
It's
what I'm
gonna be freezing. Yeah, we have a video coming out for. We have to finish wrapping up this video for the single that came out, "Hour of Chaos," and then we're gonna shoot one for "Crumb Creep Coward" off the album. And we're not gonna we know it's winter now, so there's the inevitable is it's gonna be friggin' brick out.
Yeah, and it's not like we have.
But that's the dedication. We have a
Yeah.
song called "Been Sippin'." We shot a video for that was maybe 10 degrees out,
and it was raining.
and it was raining.
Yeah, it was
And
like not raining, but
snow on the ground. Like
yeah. No, I mean when we did Evil Sun, it was maybe.
I have a song called "Evil Sun" off my last solo project. It was maybe 10 degrees that day.
There was there was streams in the street that were frozen.
Yeah, there was like streams of there was like black ice like in the parking lot. I'm scared because I'm like walking around doing my performance shots. I'm like, I'm gonna fall on this ice.
Right. You don't want to eat the concrete.
And it's dark out. There's no light. I can't see anything. So I'm like, but that's just the dedication. That's the extra steps you have to take. As silly as it sounds, it's the extra steps you have to take.
Stuff like that is always like I love looking back at stuff like that. Like I love watching our old, like even if it's videos that we're not to say not proud of, but we're just like it's kind of cringy in a little bit. I just love looking back on it because I'm like, yo, that shit was cold as shit. It was hot as shit or whatever. Just looking back on like
there's always a memory attached to it, and then you look at your growth too. It's just like, yo, man, the shit we're doing now is so much better. Look how far we've come.
Yeah, exactly. Or just like, or look how long we've been doing this shit.
Yeah, or like, look how long we've been doing this shit.
Like, yeah, we shot this video in 2017, and we're still like fucking. You know what I'm saying? We're still doing video plot how we're gonna do videos and fucking cold and shit like that. Like, yo, we're still going, and we don't plan to stop. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure it makes it even better. You do it with your brother.
And yeah, it's not like we're just branching out doing it with different videographers and shit, having to like cough up a ton of money and stuff like that. Like we do,
we can do everything ourselves. So why the hell not?
Exactly.
Like the only people we've branched out to are also friends of ours. Like my friend Rico, who was my college roommate. He's done a few videos for us. He's a close friend of ours, so it's not really, you know what I mean. So it's all in house for the most part.
Yeah.
If my pop does a video, if my pop does a video with us in it, or like if we're on a song, Jimmy Jambrone, shout out to him. That's in house for the most part. That's all camp. I know how to shoot and edit videos. He does. Our other brother, the youngest brother, Trustworthy, he also does. We all know how to do everything for the most part. So it's like, why the hell even like branch out that much if for the most part we can handle it ourselves?
Oh yeah, it's the only way to do it. I'm telling you, and nowadays it's the only way to do it because it's like we talked about earlier. It's the only person you can trust is yourself, and especially when it comes to business, because a lot of people are going to try to pull a fast one on you and try to take your money, and it just is what it is. That's the tale as old as time, especially in the entertainment business.
Yeah, like if we could save, I guess the money to do a lot of stuff, we're gonna do it. Like there's maybe been one or two occasions where one of us has paid for studio time. Cause like why would we do that? We have a studio.
Yeah, we have a studio in the house.
Yeah, you can walk downstairs. Studio.
We all can record ourselves. We don't all have to be in the same room to record either. Like, you know,
yeah, like say if I can't record him at the moment, he'll just come down and do it himself. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like there's no reason to branch out and do a whole bunch of shit with a whole bunch of people if we have what we need in our camp. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes us so blessed about the people we have around us and stuff like that.
Exactly. It is no free pass, but because you guys still have to do all the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's taxing on our energy, but I rather it be taxing on my personal energy than out of my pocket. So, you know what I'm saying?
Fellas, it's been a great interview. We're going to be coming to the end of the Hip Hop Happy Hour very shortly. I want to do a quick question. I'm going to ask you, I don't know if it's a hard question for you. Who's your favorite AOTP member?
Outside of our father, or like are we?
Don't be nepotism. Don't be saying all my dad.
No, I mean, that's just,
Give it to me. Give it to me 100. If your dad's your favorite, tell me it's your dad. But who's your favorite AOTP member?
I would. Well, yeah. Let me think. Let me think on it for a second. Because like if I'm thinking completely honestly, I would probably say my father. Just in terms of like the pockets he's always hit. Like he never rapped like anybody else in AOTP. Like maybe like subject wise, like it would like they would all keep the same themes and stuff like that. But whenever there was a planetary verse in an AOTP song, it just sticks out so much.
It does, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like whether it's the flow he used, whether like it's how he came in the first bar. I don't know. Like he would probably, like other than my father, maybe I would. Let me try to think. It's a big crew. Jeez, man.
And your father got the hooks too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what gives him the edge for me,
bro.
Exactly.
That's always what stood out for me.
And I think you could hear his influence in his style of hook writing in us too.
Mm-hmm.
Like certain hooks that we have, he would have came up with. I feel like, you know what I mean?
100%.
Right.
I like Self a lot. I like Self a lot. Like I love Self verses. Like he cracks me the hell up whenever he has a verse. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he Self is probably next to my father, other than like the usual like the Vinny and Crip and stuff like that. But I don't want to be too biased to literal families. So
right.
I'd say maybe Self maybe.
I think for me, like I think what makes my pop so unique is like I think every major group or like group that's that big, they need the guy that's the slick talker. Like he says some of the coolest shit, and certain things that he says, I'm just like, fuck, man, he sounded so cool saying that. Like he was, I feel like in that group in particular, he's the cool rapper, if that makes sense. Like I don't know how to necessarily describe it. He's the dude that's gonna squeeze bars about his kicks and his hat and his fly shirt that he's wearing. Like he's gonna slide that in there, but it's not gonna sound like corny at all. Like he makes everything sounds like so slick and smooth and cool. And like the way like his flow and his cadence is just like I think he has the best cadence in the group by far. I think in terms of who's my favorite in terms of like multis and schemes and just like who takes like syllables the most seriously and who takes like diverse like complex rhyme schemes most seriously. I think it's neck and neck between Self and Esso.
I was literally gonna say the same thing because I thought of Esso.
Well, yeah, Self and Esso and the App too. I think there's like App says like there's certain verses where like he's making entire sentences rhyme. Like he starts from the beginning and he's like ending. He's hitting everything right on the drum and like every single word and everything is rhyming, and like his interior rhymes of like every line, like he'll keep everything intact for like an entire verse, and then at the end of his exteriors, like on the end of every bar, it'll be every verse. So I think it's definitely App and Esso in terms of like, cause I take that stuff seriously. When I'm writing rhymes, I take my syllable seriously. I take like my interior like syllables and schemes. I take all that like the real science of writing rhymes. I take that shit really seriously, and I know this shit like that. So I think in terms of who pushes that the hardest in the group, and I really value that when I listen to people rap, it's definitely between App and Esso for sure. I think they have probably the two sharpest like pens in the group, but I think my favorite person to listen to rap is definitely my pop. But I think in terms of who has like the sharpest, like most complex like penmanship, I think it's between App and Esoteric.
Any answer really would suffice, but
yeah, they all go. That's the great
thing.
They
Yeah,
all
they're
go,
all great, all great MCs.
Like you can never get on a song. You can't get on a Pharaoh song and slouch ever because you're gonna be with 10 other dudes that all go.
Like you will get washed.
Yeah, you will get left.
You will. It's time to shamelessly self-promote. Tell us where we can find you, all your social medias, where we can cop the CD, where we can get the music. Let us know.
Go ahead, Mark. Let off on yours.
Yeah. So you can find me. Our Instagram handles are basically the names you'll see on the screen right now at Kxng Charisma on Instagram, Twitter. I have a Facebook page up now that's the same handle. Instagram, TikTok, all of that is the same handle. We just put out Evil Is in My Genetics. It's a collab album between me, me and Element. Mostly produced by him. We have 2 tracks that are produced by my boy Fever out in Rochester and my boy V Zines. It's a really good record. We just put it out. We have physical copies available now on our Big Cartel. We can post links up, however, exteriorly after this. But we just like sold half of the first batch, so we're trying to sell the rest of it. So if you guys want to support us, we have a Big Cartel link to have physical CDs sent out now. So yeah, that's where you can find us. Evil Is in My Genetics is available everywhere now.
Yes, sir. 100%.
Again, thank you, fellas. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Next
Absolutely.
time we gotta get Trustworthy on, and I basically had on the whole family by that point. No one to start branching out. But again, to the Hip Hop Happy Hour podcast, I appreciate the both of you, and we out.
My man, love, appreciate you.
Peace.
Sir.